Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video here on the View from the Crowd YouTube channel, and today we are going to be looking and predicting the quarterfinals of not just the Champions League but also the UEFA Europa League. And these videos have been doing amazingly on my channel recently, so if you are new here and this is the first time you're ever watching one of my videos, do make sure to subscribe down below. Loads more content coming in the future, hopefully, and yeah, thanks for all the support on these videos. It really has been quite amazing that people actually, well, half give a toss about my predictions for this competition. So yeah, thank you so much. So as I said, I'll be looking at just the quarterfinals today. I know the semi-final draw was also done at the same time, but I will get to that when the quarterfinals are over. There's no point predicting what might happen. It's best just to predict when the draws. Well, when the results of the quarterfinals are over and we actually know what the semi-finals are going to be. So that's the premise for this video. So let's just get straight into it, and we'll start with the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Now, I don't think I did too badly with my predictions. I think the only ones I got wrong were, I think it was Juventus to knock out Porto and Atletico Madrid to knock out Chelsea. And ironically, those two teams, Chelsea and Porto, have been drawn together. So we'll get straight into that game. So, of course, the first quarter-final is FC Porto versus Chelsea. And yeah, I think this is a pretty good draw. This competition is quite wide open, and I think with the way that the draw's gone, it really has made this competition a lot more interesting this year. Last year we saw Bayern had a very definitive sort of route to the final. So did PSG, and it looked like it was always going to be a Bayern PSG final. I think this year a lot more sort of it's a lot more difficult to see who is actually going to be in the final. But for Chelsea and for Porto, this is quite an ideal draw, considering the other teams that are still left in the competition. And Chelsea did amazingly, not being biased, but they did amazingly to knock out Atletico Madrid 3-0 on aggregate. But the thing is, also Porto did amazingly well to knock out Juventus. So this is I think it's going to be quite a battle. I think it's definitely one that both teams are definitely going to be wanting to get into that semi-final. But in terms of sort of my prediction for who's going to go through, I do find it quite difficult. Of course, I do have my own personal biases with the team that I support, but personally, I actually do think Chelsea are going to do the business. While Chelsea may not score many goals, they really don't concede many goals. I think that's the key here. Chelsea is very defensively strong. I think probably stronger than Juve, especially with the way that the system that Thomas Tuchel has set up at Chelsea. I just don't see quite how Porto could probably best it. But you could also swing on the other, because Chelsea don't score goals. It's going to be tough for Chelsea to sort of just get through, maybe conventionally. I think with the first game being away, I think it's quite key. If Chelsea can do what they did against Atletico, get that away goal, even if it is just a scrappy 1-0 win, it sets up very nicely for the second leg. So that's personally how I think it's going to go. I think it's going to be very similar to the draw against Atletico, and I think it is going to be Chelsea who progress to the semi-finals. Next up, we have Manchester City versus Borussia Dortmund. Now, I think I've seen some people that think that this game is very much open and shut. It's going to be Man City that go through, but they're just completely forgetting about the fact that Sancho and Haaland are just absolutely smashing at the moment, especially Haaland. He's scoring goals left, right, and centre at the moment for Dortmund. But I do kind of see people's point. Dortmund do have a tendency to just let results sort of slip away from them. I think they were very fortunate with their draw in the last round. Well, so were City, to be fair, with against Mönchengladbach. I think it was quite an easy draw for City and Guardiola. I think this game is going to be more of a test, and I think it's going to be closer than a lot of people think. However, I do think the result is pretty much going to be the same, and I think it's going to be it's going to be Manchester City who go through. But honestly, I do expect to put Dortmund to put up a test, get the goals. But as I've already said, they just have a tendency to let these results sort of slip away from them and just bottle sort of good leads. So yeah, that's why I'm going to go Manchester City to go through against Borussia Dortmund. Next up, we have Real Madrid versus Liverpool, the repeat of the Champions League final, which was what 2, 3 seasons ago now. Yeah, this is quite a tough one to predict because Liverpool, while um, not doing brilliantly in the league and sort of dropping points in the Champions League, they've been absolutely faultless. I expected Leipzig to give Liverpool a much harder challenge than they did, and Liverpool seemed to deal with the sort of the pressure that Leipzig brought, and deal with it very comfortably and get through. I think there was no real issues for Liverpool in getting through. But now, going from a team which is very much on the rise in the German league and not an established big player to Real Madrid, who are arguably the biggest club in the world, um, yeah, it's quite the step up. And while Liverpool are a very capable squad, they've still got those sort of nagging sort of injuries and sort of various other issues which could see Real Madrid be a real problem for them. And I do expect Real Madrid to be a real problem for Liverpool. But whether or not it'll be enough for Real Madrid to get through, um, I'm really not sure. Um, I think it like I think yeah, like the sort of the City Dortmund game, I think it's going to be a lot closer than people expect, and I think it could, be a matter of away goals or just just sort of the one goal that sort of sees one team through and the other one out. Um, but I think sort of the logical prediction would be to go with Real Madrid. However, I'm gonna sort of go for a kind of an upset. I think Liverpool, this year in the Champions League have shown that they can push forward, and it's quite it's fair tradition for teams in England to not be doing particularly well in the league and then go on to win the Champions League. You think of Liverpool when they won it, they finished like sixth in the table. Chelsea, when they won the Champions League in 2012, they won. Well, they were like seventh in the table. Um, yeah, it was. It really doesn't matter about league performance when it comes to the Champions League. So I'm going to go Liverpool to knock out Real Madrid. I know that's kind of bold, but hopefully I'm right. In a way, I'm right. Then finally we get onto the big game of the quarterfinals, and when I say big game, it is huge, and it is Bayern Munich versus PSG, the repeat of last year's Champions League final, which very much swung in Bayern Munich's way. And while people have been saying, "Oh, I think Paris can give a lot sort of more than they did than last year's Champions League final," I personally don't see it. I think Bayern is still very much the team to beat in this competition, and I think it's going to be very difficult for anyone to stop them. I think PSG is still without Neymar. Still a big player. Kylian Mbappe is doing absolutely amazing. I think he's very recently achieved 100 club goals for Paris in the short time that he's been there. It's incredibly impressive. But when it comes to it, I think Bayern are just all round the better team, and I think they are going to be a little bit too much for Paris. But it is over two legs. It isn't just the one game this time. And we saw how fairly comfortably Paris, managed to beat Barcelona. Barcelona, but they beat them over two legs. So I think that's sort of where the interest sort of factor comes in this game. It's not just one game. It's not just the final. It is over two legs, both home and away. And yeah, I think that's where people are kind of just being a little wary with their predictions and who they think that's going to go through in this game. But personally, I think it is going to be Bayern Munich. Now we move on to the Europa League, and I just need to keep apologising to Arsenal fans. You know, the last two rounds I've said that they're going to go out both to I can't even remember who they played in the round of 32. Of Benfica. I said they were going to go out to Benfica, and then I said they were going to go out to Olympiacos. But no, they've done it. They're still here. And I got pretty much almost bang on. Yeah, I said Granada, I said United to go through, Ajax, Roma, Salvia Prague against Rangers, even though that was close. And someone in my comments was like, "You underestimate Rangers' ability." Sorry, mate. It was Salvia Prague who went through in the end. I think I said Dynamo Zagreb, and yeah, Villarreal was a pretty sort of easy one to predict. So not too bad, not too bad. But hopefully we can get 100% in the quarterfinals. It's very unlikely, but you know, with only 4 games, how hard could it be? But first, we do start off with Granada versus Manchester United. United have done very well to get this far, and I think United are like a real contender. I think well, a lot of people are very quick to rule out United, especially over the last few years, and how sort of up and down they've been. People need to remember that United are a team filled with absolute world class players who show up on European nights, and I think while it was a difficult fixture in the last round for them, I think this one is I wouldn't say considerably easier. I think it's definitely easier than their previous draw. So I think it is going to be fairly open and shut. I'm going to predict Manchester United to go through against Granada. Next up is Arsenal versus Salvia Prague. Prague must be fed off of getting British teams. The first they get Leicester, next they get Rangers, and now they've got Arsenal. I think I think I'm trying to sort of go against my gut here because while I would say Arsenal probably have the advantage, and again, very much like I was talking about with Liverpool earlier, Liverpool may not be doing great in the league. Neither is Arsenal, but they seem to keep showing up on these sort of European stages and doing very well. And I think it's the real positive to take away from this season for Arsenal is the fact that they have had a really good sort of run in the Europa League this year. While they may not make that top 6, if they do get a European, Europa League win, that is them in the Champions League next year, which is a huge boost for them. And honestly, while Slavia Prague have shown, their mettle against the likes of Leicester and Rangers, I think this game could be probably very close. But I think in the end it is going to be Arsenal. No, I'm going to change my mind. It's going to be Arsenal. Hopefully, reverse psychology works here. I say Arsenal are going to go through and they actually go out. But my personal bias aside, once again, I do think it is Arsenal who are going to go through here. They are, on a very good run in the Europa League, and they do seem fairly untouchable, despite sort of like the kind of scare they got from Olympiacos in the second leg. It was never going to be enough for them to go out. So, yeah, Arsenal to knock out Slavia Prague. Next up is Ajax versus Roma. Now, that's a tasty fixture. That's something you'd expect maybe in like the round of 16 of the Champions League, or even the quarter-finals of the Champions League. That is a very, very European European football fixture. And personally, I think this could be a very close game. Ajax aren't the team we really sort of looked up to when they were getting to the semi-finals a couple of years ago. But they've been in this position before when they faced United in the final of the Europa League only a few years before that. So I think it could be a very tough game for both teams. I think it is overall. I think it is a very tasty game, and one that I think I will be tuning into. But sort of I just kind of want to say it's going to be Roma. I think it's very much a sort of a coin toss on this game. And while Ajax, and Roma are both great teams, I think it is going to be Roma is going to be the one to sort of go through. I've had it since Roma sort of during this Europa League sort of knockout stages. I've had sort of Roma down as one of those teams that could win it alongside Manchester United. So yeah, I'm going to go with Roma and sort of stick with my own sort of philosophy on who I believe was going to win. So yeah, Roma to knock out Ajax, but that's going to be a good one. And finally, we have Dynamo Zagreb versus Villarreal. I think this one is also quite open and shut. Personally, I think I'm going to go with Villarreal to go through in this game. Not really sort of like got much backing behind that, but for me, Villarreal are just the better side. And Spanish football usually does incredibly well in the Europa League, and I think Villarreal, as I already said, I think Villarreal are a much better side than Dynamo Zagreb. No offence to any Dynamo Zagreb fans out there, but I think it's going to take quite a lot to to knock out a pretty big team in Spanish football. And I think it's just I kind of think it is just kind of Villarreal's game to lose. But always expect the unexpected. You never know what's going to happen in these games, and maybe I'm proved horrendously wrong and look completely stupid. That is sort of a risk that I take with any of these prediction videos of making myself look completely dumb. So, but hopefully this time I won't be, proven completely wrong. So, as I've already said, Villarreal to knock out Dynamo Zagreb. So yeah, that is it. That is all my predictions for this year's quarterfinal draws for both the Champions League and the Europa League. Let me know your predictions down in the comments below. I love hearing what you guys think. Yeah, do you think I'm right with my predictions? Do you think I'm completely wrong? Do you think I'm chatting utter crap? Just let me know down in the comments, and tell me who you think is going to go through. But yeah, it's drawing to a close now. We are now in March, only a couple of more months now for the season to go until we reach those all-important finals in these two European competitions, and I, for one, have no idea who is going to be in either. I do have sort of my sneaking suspicions, but I think it's quite difficult at this point to really sort of nail down a proper sort of prediction of who is going to be going through. So hopefully I'm right in my own predictions, and for my own sake, I really am hoping that Chelsea can get past Porto, and then we face either Real Madrid or Liverpool in the semi-finals. As I've already said, I'm not going to be covering the semi-finals until we actually come to it. There's no point sort of going on what could be. I'd rather just talk about what is actually the fixtures that are going to come out. But you can kind of already know what I think my semi-final predictions are based on who I think I'm going to go through. So that would be Liverpool versus Chelsea and Bayern Munich versus Manchester City. That would be a spectacular semi-finals, and would guarantee at least one English team in the Champions League final against the might of Bayern Munich. But of course, there's still 2 games in each, 8 games to be played before we can really figure that out. So yeah, we shall see. So guys, that's all from me. If you did like this video, make sure to like it, and if you're new here, make sure to subscribe with notifications on so you get notified every time I upload. If you haven't already followed my blog, the link for that is down in the description. Fairly regular content going up on there. Also make sure to check out Spotlight Pro. I'm doing it recently. I've started a new sort of Chelsea sort of monthly column on there, so yeah, that is also down in the description below as well, so make sure to check that out. So guys, that is all from me. My name is Edwards. Thank you so much for watching.